right, boys, welcome back to the second episode of the Popcorn Podcast, your place to get all the news, views, and movie reviews. It's your boy Danklin coming in with Dan and Chase.
What's going on, everybody?
What up, Frankie? Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. We're filming this one a little bit later than usual.
Yeah, we are. It's because I had to work last night.
Oh, how was that? I didn't even ask you about that. I feel like an asshole.
It was honestly so I just got promoted, for those that don't know, to manager. And the closing shift is kind of confusing because you have to I work at a sporting goods store, and so there's 3 registers. And at the end of the night, I have to pull the tills from those 3 registers and reconcile them. And each till has to be amounted at $250, and it can't be over or less than that. And that part alone is very confusing for me. And I was getting very frustrated with myself last night because I feel like I should have grasped this already. And I'm just getting frustrated with myself because I'm trying to prove to my other managers that I'm getting it.
Yeah, but I'm really who is the biggest dick around.
I'm really not. And basically, usually the manager takes around 25 to 30 minutes to do the entire closing process. And then there's usually an extra 30 minutes of cleanup time. And the last few times I've been closing, it's taken me about 50 minutes to get out of that office. I got pretty frustrated.
Hate you.
Well, all of my managers have been actually pretty supportive because they're like, dude, this is a lot. Like, we all had to take our time to get to it. And like one of my managers, because one has been coming back every time to kind of monitor me just so I'm not there by myself. And I always feel bad because they come back with the intention of not having to do much. And then they end up doing a lot because I'm asking them tons of questions. And one of my managers was like, dude, I see you getting frustrated. Don't get frustrated. Like, this is a lot of information that
That's really cool.
Just got sprung into. So I do feel the support, which is nice. It's just getting to the point now where I'm like, I just need to get this, you know?
Well, goddamn. I don't think I let you guys know, but I'm looking like I'm about to get a really, really nice sales job.
Oh, doing what?
Yeah.
Can't talk about it yet. At least on the podcast. I'm not allowed to for some reason. But it's involving education and selling stuff in the education sector. And it's
How did you get involved with that?
A temp hiring agency.
Oh yeah, you're talking about that last week.
Yeah, and I had the interview last Thursday and it went really well. But let's get into this. We're going into the news and views section of the podcast. We're going to be talking about all the news from this week, new movie trailers. There's a fuck ton. There is a astronomical fuck ton of news, guys.
Astronomical.
Yeah, Comic-Con San Diego happened this week. And I'm just going to start with the biggest news, in my opinion. You might disagree with it being the biggest, but it's Marvel Phase 4 was fully announced.
Yeah, they dropped a bomb.
They dropped a huge bomb. They dropped everything all at once, and they started teasing Phase 5. I'll go down the list real quick. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. First is the Black Widow movie, May 1st, 2020. The Falcon and Winter Soldier, fall 2020. And is that a TV show, I believe?
It will be a TV on Disney+.
It's going to be like a limited series on Disney+.
I wish that was a movie.
I honestly think it's cooler that they're going to be a series because it's going to be longer than what a movie would have been.
True.
If it's like 7-8 episodes, that's a decent amount of content.
Yeah. Next up is Eternals, November 6, 2020, with a fucking star-studded cast. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. WandaVision, another TV show streaming on Disney+. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Loki on Disney+, another TV show. A Marvel What If show, which sounds fucking awesome.
That's the most, I don't know what to expect with that.
That's like the nerds on YouTube who love to just theory craft all of these battles of what if it was it's only going to be Marvel. I was going to say
so do you think it'll be animated?
No, it's going to be a talk show.
Oh.
Yeah.
Isn't one of these supposed to be animated?
I
think one of the shows is a WandaVision. One of them is supposed to be animated, I believe.
Oh, that'd be kind of crappy if the WandaVision was animated.
Yeah, I would.
It might be What
Elizabeth
If,
Olsen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
But rounding out the final bit of Phase 4 lineup is Hawkeye, fall 2021 Disney Plus streaming, and Thor: Love and Thunder. What do you two think about this stuff?
So let me start off by saying I'm the most excited for 3 of these options. One, I'm very excited for Black Widow. Yeah, I would say I'm equally excited for... Well, actually, I'll save my most excited for last.
Okay,
but
good.
Black Widow, I'm very excited for. I love Scarlett Johansson. I think she's a great very complex character in the MCU. And even though she died in Endgame, spoiler alert, I am really excited to see what they do with her. Whether it's going to be a multiverse type of Black Widow situation or whether it's going to be a flashback scenario. I'm just excited. I think that it's going to be really cool.
I think they're going to wait to introduce the multiverse.
Yeah.
Until Doctor Strange.
Yep.
But what are your guys' opinions on the flashback? I don't really like that they're going to do that, maybe.
See, if that
I'd
was
rather
the
have the
case-
multiverse.
Yeah, I feel like if that's the case, I'm less excited because we already if it's a story in the past, it's almost meaningless because we already know she's gonna die. You know what I mean? So
it sounds like it will be a story in the past because did you see who else was cast in the show?
Who?
David Harbour is playing.
Oh, I did see that. He's playing a spy named Alexei.
Yep. Stranger Things throwback.
That is so funny.
Yeah, it's so sad. My boy.
It is. I know. There's always a casualty in Stranger Things. Season 1 was Barb. Season 2 was Alexei.
Yeah, season 3 was like. Who cares about season 2?
Oh, season 2. Yeah, I forgot about season 2.
Wow. It was the ratings that died.
I didn't even remember that there was a season 2. It was that black girl that was friends with 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened to her?
I don't even remember. But with Black Widow, David Harbour is basically playing the Russian Captain America.
That's exciting.
Interesting.
He's the Soviet response to Captain America during the Cold War.
I love David Harbour. I think he's such a great actor. So I love that he's going to be part of the MCU. I feel like he's going to really bring a cool take on it.
And that one's going to be a movie. That sounds like it could be a TV show. You know?
I know. I'm surprised that's going to be a big screener.
I think I would rather kind of switch Black Widow to a TV show and Falcon and Winter Soldier to a movie because I just want to see Anthony Mackie just going at it. He's one of my favorite actors from the MCU right now.
So that'll lead me into my second excited one, and that'll be the Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm so excited for that one. Like Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan have such a great dynamic. And I feel like they're just really dope characters that haven't gotten as much deserved attention in this universe. And so I'm excited to see, like, do you think this will be a direct result of Endgame? Or do you think this will be like years
100%.
later? You know what I mean? Or like, do you think it's going to be like months later?
I think it's going to be months. I think it's going to be months.
Years.
Or, well, actually, that's a stupid thing. I was going to suggest it could be in the time that Captain America went back in time. But that was a long time for him, but it was a blink of an eye for us, you know? So I think it's going to be a couple months after Endgame. And I'm really excited to see Falcon take up the mantle of Captain America. And what I really think is going to happen is they're both going to kind of split that duty equally because it's hard to fill in Captain America's Steve Rogers' shoes. Really, really hard to do that.
It definitely is. And one thing I think that's unique about those two characters is they both, in their own way, have a really close relationship to him.
Yep. Oh, the closest people. So what's your number one?
So my number one is going to be the final movie in this list. It's the furthest away from getting to view it, but Thor: Love and Thunder, I am so excited for that. You know, I was one of those people that was a little bothered that Natalie Portman was left out of Ragnarok, though I agree her character wasn't necessary for the storyline. I love Natalie Portman, and I wish she was in it. And so the fact that they're bringing her back in, but not just bringing her back in, but she's literally going to be the female Thor, and they knighted her with the hammer at the Comic-Con was just so dope.
That was epic.
It was epic, and I'm so excited for it because I don't know if you knew this, but the reason that she wasn't in Ragnarok was because of complications and what's the correct word? Just issues between her and some of the Marvel head people. And so the fact that she's going to be in Thor and Love and Thunder shows that was resolved.
They're kind of righting their wrongs.
And they righted their wrongs. And I feel like that's really great because there was a lot of issues. I don't know specifics, but I just know that she wasn't very happy with the way she was treated in Dark World. She wasn't happy with the conditions of the filming and all the stuff. There was a lot of issues she had. So the fact that they're bringing her back shows that they heard her and they're like, we don't want you to leave on a bad note type of thing.
So I want a quick rundown. What happened? I never saw Thor: The Dark World. What happened to her character? I saw the flashback in Endgame, obviously.
Right.
But I don't know why Natalie Portman is Thor all of a sudden. Give me a little bit of background on Jane Foster.
So basically Jane Foster is a scientist esque kind of person. Yeah. And falls in love with Thor when he first comes to Earth. In the second movie, they have this like kind of like a long distance relationship because Thor is kind of in and out of space and Earth in Dark World, and they kind of keep in contact every now and then. And then she starts going searching like on like an archaeological kind of like trip, and starts trying to find something that she's been researching, and she finds it, and it's I don't know what the proper term is, but it's basically the stone that possesses her.
Yeah.
Is it the Mind Stone?
I think it was reality. Or
maybe it was. No, that's Doctor Strange, right?
No, Doctor Strange has the time.
Oh, the Time Stone. I'm not too sure what stone it is. I know it's.
It was the red one, right?
Oh, is it the red one? Maybe it's the red one.
Because I remember in Endgame, like she was like injected with the red one, right?
Yeah. So basically, what happens is she gets injected, and she kind of gets possessed a little bit by this force. And the movie is essentially about Thor trying to save the world from this force. Loki attacks
fucking Loki
Earth once again with like all of these aliens, and Thor essentially saves the world, stops Loki, and gets the thing out of Jane Foster. And then the movie ends on a very cliffhanger in terms of where the relationship is going to be. And so the fact that she wasn't in Ragnarok kind of left a sour taste in a lot of fans' mouth because they were like, what the hell happened to her?
I never even saw Dark World and left a sour taste in my mouth right now.
Exactly. So I think they're going to really explore that in Love and Thunder, and I'm really excited.
That's really cool. Chase, what are your thoughts on Phase 4?
So Phase 4 right off the bat, I'm gonna agree. Black Widow, excited, and I'm stoked that it's coming out next year, so we don't have to really wait too long for another Marvel movie to come out.
I know, May. That's soon.
It is really soon, and you haven't really heard anything about it. So
did we expect anything less though?
No.
Like I expected them to pump movies out as soon.
So is that the next Marvel movie? Are we done for the year?
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, that's kind of sad.
Mm-hmm. I know, right?
So
Disney's taking over this. End of the year with Star Wars, so they got to give some time for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Disney literally owns everything now. They just need to buy Harry Potter. It'll be done.
Yep. Continue, Chase.
All right. So I'm excited for two more things in this phase, besides what Dan kind of listed off, and then actually another one that I'll talk about. But one, I'm excited to see Shang-Chi. I haven't really heard anything about it, but I know this movie is going to do numbers in China.
Yep.
Like, it's going to make a ton of money. So I'm kind of excited more to see just the statistics of what happens with that movie.
I think it's going to be one of the highest grossing films of all time because China has such a large consumer base for film.
Yeah.
Like China, whenever China's numbers come in, that's when movies really get pushed over the top in terms of box office numbers. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think Shang-Chi.
So does anybody know anything about Shang-Chi?
I didn't actually read the Shang-Chi comics. I have no real what's the word? Predilection? Maybe not. On what's going on with Shang-Chi.
Well, we'll find out in 2021.
It's kind of far away.
We'll wait a year and a half. But I'm also excited for Doctor Strange. I thought the visuals in the first one were cool. Mm-hmm. And this one, the title is crazy long. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
It sounds like a ride.
Yeah, it really does. It sounds like a ride. Six Flags.
Yeah, it's a Six Flags ride, literally.
Those are
I'm upside down.
I'm excited. I wouldn't really. The first one was okay, but this one is supposed to be the first horror movie in the MCU. So the visuals, like how crazy they were in the first, I can't even imagine the horror elements, how it's going to make it pop in this film.
Guys,
I'm really intrigued by the term horror. Like, I'm really intrigued what they mean by that.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll have once more information comes out, we will hear about that. But the thing I am most excited about that came out at Comic-Con, and it's not even going to be in Phase 4, it's freaking Blade, dude.
Oh, bro, you stole it from me. You stole my thunder.
Like,
Phase 5.
Phase 5, the start of it's gonna be so cool. Like, Frankie, I don't know if you read this, but they weren't even planning on doing anything with Blade. And Mahershala Ali was just like, "Yeah, I want to be Blade." And they're like, "Yeah,
you don't turn him down.
I think we can find a place for you in the MCU." Yeah.
I don't know much about Blade.
Oh my god,
Wesley Snipes is Blade. You got to go watch him.
This week, I rewatched Blade 1 and 2 because of the hype that I've had for the new Blade. Blade's one of my favorite movies.
So that's a Marvel movie.
It was the first successful Marvel Comics movie.
Yep.
How long ago did that come out?
90s. Late
98
90s.
was the first, and the Blade trilogy came out in 2004.
You see, I remember being in my living room, sitting in like cardboard boxes, pretending I was like Blade, playing with like fucking sticks and shit, swinging it around, killing vampires, man.
What do you mean? You still do that now?
I really do with my Dungeons and Dragons. But holy fuck, man. Dan, have you seen Blade? If you haven't,
I can picture the guy.
Of course,
just have not
Wesley
seen
Snipes
it in a long time.
It's such a good movie. He has amazing quips. He's a badass motherfucker.
There's two
in those movies. There's three. The third one's with Ryan Reynolds.
No, Colin Farrell.
No, it's Ryan Reynolds.
It is Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. He plays a guy named Hannibal, which is actually the name of my last D&D character, and I found that out afterwards. I was like, holy fuck.
Oh, wait, is that like the first version of Deadpool?
No, not at all. He
that
plays
was
a vampire.
Wolverine Origins.
In the third Blade with Ryan Reynolds, they are killing Dracula.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah,
it's like the thing that I'm intrigued with Blade is it's such a different like Dracula and all that kind of stuff. It's like stuff we've never really seen in the MCU before, you know? So I'm like excited for that.
So I'll give you a quick little rundown on who Blade is. He is the Daywalker. His mother was bitten by a vampire when she was pregnant and about to give birth to Blade, his name being Eric originally, at least in the first movie. And he is born with all of the strengths of vampires, with none of the weaknesses. The only weakness he has is he still maintains a thirst for blood, and he has to have human blood to survive. And he spends his time, after becoming a teenager, aligning with a maniac gunsmith who's like a mad genius, and he kills evil vampires. And he is a badass motherfucker. The entire first movie, he just keeps fighting stronger and more vampires, and he can like, oh my god, man, you need to watch it. The CGI is pretty ass, but it's also 1998, and it's just it's so
like
great.
How much do you want from it, right? Yeah.
It's so great, and the fact that they're doing a remake, that's gonna be the first real I think Multiverse of Madness is gonna be scary. Blade's gonna be fucking scary, man.
That might be like a PG-13 and up for sure kind of movie.
Oh, I think Blade's gonna be rated R.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think it'll be the first Marvel movie that's rated R?
Yeah, the first official Marvel movie, because Deadpool wasn't.
Deadpool
was Sony, but a first official MCU movie rated R, definitely. Like, you could do Blade. You can't do Blade rated PG-13. You really can't.
No.
Is he a vulgar kind of character?
He has quips, but it's just a lot of the stuff like going on, like the vampires.
It's the violence.
Yeah, there's
violence.
It's excessive violence, good excessive. There's a lot of stuff that makes it so you really can't do Blade under rated R. It's not going to be as vulgar as Deadpool, but it's going to be up there in terms of there's a reason why it's going to be rated R, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking love it. Do you have anything else though on the MCU, Chase?
No, man, go into yours.
The thing I'm surprised none of you guys talked about was Eternals. I am so fucking excited for that movie. Have you seen the cast, y'all?
Yeah, I don't know much about them, so it's hard to be excited because I don't really know what that is. I am excited for Angelina Jolie. I think that's freaking stellar. That's some real Hollywood box office right there.
So the Eternals is going to be a big part, in my opinion, of introducing kind of the multiverse. These are like not the gods, but they're like a step below the gods in the Marvel comics. They're like really, really like superheroes. And the casting for the movie, oh my god, you already mentioned Angelina Jolie. Richard Madden is going to be
Rob Stark.
Yeah. Kumail, how do you say his last name?
Nanjiani, yeah.
Nanjiani. He is the lead actor in the first episode of the new Twilight Zone. He's going to be in Eternals.
Right. He's the comedian.
Yep. Salma Hayek is going to be in Eternals. She's going to be the first Latina superhero.
So are they superheroes?
They're like low-key. They're like lesser gods is what they are. They're like beyond superheroes. Like they make like Captain Marvel look weak.
Gotcha.
Like they make Captain Marvel look puny. They're immortals, and yeah, they are basically gods, and I'm really, really excited for the new Eternals movie. And then Phase 5, they haven't even announced movies like Spider-Man 3, Black Panther 2, and we know
Guardians.
These movies. Yeah, we know these movies are coming. So those are all going to be Phase 5, and I'm really fucking hyped.
I know Phase 5 is going to be like. So my question is, do you think there is going to be a consecutive timeline between all of these?
What do you mean?
In terms of like the first 3 Marvel movies, in their own respected movies, didn't have anything to do with each other as much. But then in Avengers Endgame and Infinity War, they were all brought to like a conclusion, if that makes sense.
I remember.
Do you see the same happening for these phases?
Yeah, I remember a couple of years ago actually hearing about Marvel's plan for Phase 4 and like basically after Phase 3. And this is right before Infinity War came out. And I think it was Kevin Feige who said it. I may be wrong on this because it was years ago that I read this. Their plan after Infinity War is to go back to individualized storytelling. And I think the Phase 4 lineup kind of highlights that perfectly, you know? Like Blade isn't gonna be an Avenger. I can tell you that right fucking now. Blade is not gonna be an Avenger. He is like probably one of the most individualized storylines in Marvel Comics. He actually, fun fact about Blade, he wasn't big until the movie came out. The movie kind of cemented Blade's status in comic book culture. Before the movie came out, he was a side character in the Tomb of Dracula comics, so he wasn't even a main character. And they needed something to save them and save them now. And Blade is the property that did save them. But I definitely think they're going back to what they said. They're going to go back to those individualized storytelling. And I'm
Do you think it's going to all lead to one place?
Yes. And I think Fantastic Four coming into the MCU, I've said this before, I'll say this again. I think Doctor Doom is going to be the next Thanos.
And I feel like it would be really smart on Marvel's behalf because Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame were obviously just great movies by themselves. But I would say a big driving force was just the amount of actors that were converged into one movie. You know what I mean? Like they took all of these actors and all of these characters that had their own movies and literally put them together, which I think for at least me, that was one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to see Infinity War.
Yeah, it was a pop culture phenomena.
Right. It's like all of these characters are finally together. I feel like Marvel would be silly to not do that again.
Yep. So last little bit of Avengers Endgame news before I go on to other Comic-Con news is Endgame finally passed Avatar in becoming the highest grossing film of all time. I'm kind of surprised, but not that surprised. You know, I was surprised that Avatar stayed on the top for so long. That's where I was really surprised.
It's because Avatar was in theaters for 9 months.
It was insane.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really fucking awesome. Next little
thing that I love is it doesn't make a difference because Disney owns all of them.
Yeah, I know, right? It's
Disney it's the money machine.
Disney's just a greedy machine.
Yes, they are.
They've really got a monopoly on the movie market, and at least they make good movies. You know,
literally, they have Park Place right now. They have Boardwalk. Like they have all the good spots.
They've got it all. Some more Comic-Con news is coming from Kevin Smith, the mind behind Bob and Silent J Strike Back. Star Wars Rise of the Skywalker will, quote, melt your mind. This is from an
that makes me uncomfortable.
That makes me so excited. This is a direct quote after Comic-Con. He was on site with staff and crew on site when he was shooting told him to not visit a particular set during the shooting. And they said, and I quote, "You don't want to be spoiled. You want to be in a theater when this happens. Trust me." And then the other people in the crew were like, quote, "Bro, I wish I hadn't seen it. I'm glad I did, but it will melt your mind." What the fuck do you guys think that set is?
Dude, you know what? That just he's like overhyping it. It feels like for me now, and I feel like I'm gonna be let down when I.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Because if you remember, the hype for the Last Jedi was insane. It was literally described as gonna be the best movie ever.
But I trust J.J. Abrams. And even J.J. Abrams had shit to say to him too. And I don't know. I might be too optimistic, but I really trust J.J. Abrams with the fate of Star Wars, and I'm so excited. This makes me like really, really excited. I'm glad you guys are a bit more rational, but I'm like, fuck yeah, Star Wars.
Like, I'm still gonna obviously see it. I just hate quotes like that because then I'm like, okay, well, it better deliver. You know?
True.
Definitely.
True. I could totally see that. And then Chase, you want to take away all of the fucking movie trailers that were dropped at Comic-Con and others?
Yeah,
but there's so many.
We have 3 TV shows we're going to get into, and then we got 5 movies. So let's start off with the one big one, and that is the first official trailer for Watchmen came out. It's set to premiere this year, October 2019. Boys, what do you guys think about this?
You know,
I'm so excited.
I'm glad you're excited. I'm excited because HBO.
Yes.
I'm not the biggest fan of the original Watchmen movie. My cousin fucking loved this movie, and he would make me watch it with him like every other week. And like growing up, I thought I was just like the only one. But becoming an adult, I've realized a lot of people dislike the first Watchmen movie, and I'm not alone. But like,
I agree with you on that. I do not remember watching that movie at all.
No, I do. I just remember not liking it.
Which is like, for me, I didn't like it, obviously, because I don't remember it.
Okay. Yeah, I can totally get that.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't remember it all, so I'm like, obviously, I didn't like it. But I'm just excited for HBO. Like you said, HBO delivers, and they make great shows.
Yep.
Like,
Watchmen is such an adult comic book series, and HBO is the one to do an adult comic book series. They're the ones to do it. It's in good hands. Very good hands.
And Regina King. I'm very excited for her.
Mm-hmm. Chase, you want to go on to my favorite trailer that we're going to talk about?
Yeah, I'm super stoked for this. It's going to be The Witcher. It's going to be coming onto Netflix later this year. Frankie, he's going to probably talk our ears off about it, but I just want to say right off the bat, I'm stoked for this because it's kind of like the hype Frankie said with Star Wars, but they're kind of comparing this to Game of Thrones, what Netflix wants it to be. So I'm really stoked to see what this is all about.
Again, they better deliver.
So question for you two. Have either of you two played the Witcher games?
No, but I've watched you.
Yes, I have Witcher 3.
Okay, so you know how fucking good this show is about.
Yes, I do. And I know it's going to be awesome with Henry Cavill, too.
He is so perfect to play Geralt of Rivia. And
what's that name again?
I pronounced it wrong. It's Geralt of Rivia. He plays so Dan, since you aren't familiar with the Witcher series, and you probably got this vibe from the trailer, the main character, Henry Cavill, is playing Geralt of Rivia, who is a Witcher. And what a Witcher does...
Is he an elf?
No, he's a human who uses chaotic magic via alchemical potions to obtain superhuman-like abilities. And his entire purpose... His like entire life's purpose is to slay monsters for money, and that's
gives me Legolas vibes.
Yes, and he picture Legolas, but like on steroids. But his steroids are like he can like. I don't even want to spoil it because the shit he can do is so fucking badass, man. But the monsters are only the backdrop because with The Witcher, and I'm kind of one thing I am disappointed about is. The political backdrop of The Witcher is kind of something you don't get into until you really dive into the story. You go into it for a story about a guy killing monsters, and you come out with a massive political story. And in the trailer, they're like, the worst monsters are the ones we create, which are basically humans. And they're like, okay, humans are terrible, but like you're not supposed to find that out until you kind of get into the story. So I'm a little annoyed they spoiled that in the trailer. But yes, this show is going to be a lot about politics and killing monsters. And it's about him, his yet-to-be betrothed, Yennefer, who is a mage who practices dark magic, and his yet-to-be adopted daughter, Ciri. And she has very interesting powers that I'm not going to spoil because the show will get into that near the end.
Was she the one with the like messed up features?
No, that's Yennefer. Ciri is the little blonde girl.
Ooh.
She's like their child. She is like the key to like everything. She's a badass motherfucker. But in the show, she's going to start off very young and innocent because that's how she starts off. It's going to take her a couple of seasons to really become that badass motherfucker. I'm super excited. I've been playing The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt on my computer. It's such an amazing fucking game. It's such an amazing book series. I'm so, like, it's one of the best stories in gaming I've ever played. And I'm so excited to see just this universe put onto the small screen. It's great. Beyond hype.
It's going to be interesting, and I'm stoked for the end of the year to come with these great shows. Going on to the third one, Westworld Season 3 coming out. It's going to be in the beginning of 2020. So, Frankie, I know you're excited for this, too.
There's always 2 years between each season, and it pisses me off. But yes,
well, I think a lot of that had to do with Game of Thrones.
Yes, I think so, too.
Yep.
Because HBO doesn't like to compete with itself, you know what I mean? For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And for, this year was the year of Thrones, so for HBO to come out with Westworld same year, it's not that smart.
Can you imagine if Westworld came out right after Game of Thrones? You'd be like, I don't want to watch this crap after what they threw Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it would have.
That would have been too much for me.
It would have been too much for sure. Yeah.
I love Westworld. Dan and I did the Weed World podcast. It would have been way too much for me to do. Just Westworld is just one of those shows that is so amazing yet so complicated. Half the reason Dan and I did the podcast was just so we could understand the fucking show.
So we could dissect it, literally. Like, it was for us more than anything.
Yep. I'm beyond hyped. I love Aaron Paul. I love what they're doing. The last trailer had me so hyped because we started to see
Maeve.
Yep. Not only Maeve, you see so many characters.
I know, you see Arnold, you see Maeve. It's like, I love it. It's gonna be so good. And they're going to like a Nazi kind of environment.
I'm really excited.
A World War II kind of world.
I'm super, super, super fucking excited. Chase, you want to get started on these
let's
movie
do
trailers?
It. I'm ready to talk. So I want to say this right off the bat. It's so funny because Frankie had this as his number 3 movie last week for top 80s movies. And now we're in the danger zone. Top Gun 2 is coming out next July. I am stoked. What are you guys thinking?
I'm going to say this. If they don't play Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins, I'm going to be real mad.
There's no way they can.
That was a heated debate on that. Why wasn't it on the trailer?
I heard that they are going to be playing it. The directors or someone from the cast actually told a news outlet that it's going to be in the movie. Because it has to be. It has to be.
Yeah. That song was made for Top Gun.
It literally was. I remember reading the backstory on the song and how they went to a bunch of different big artists. Like, they went to Toto and a couple of other artists, and no one wanted to pick it up. And they got Kenny Loggins, and they just fucking rocked it, man. That's a classic song. That's a classic.
I'm gonna give
movie.
a different perspective. I love Top Gun. It was one of my favorite movies growing up. I kind of idolized Tom Cruise when I was younger. I loved Days of Thunder. I loved Top Gun. I loved Risky Business. I literally loved all of his movies that he was in.
Yep.
I am kind of mixed about this because though I love it and I probably will see it, I am so bothered by Tom Cruise as an individual that I feel like his persona in real life has ruined my love for this movie to come out, if that makes sense. Like, I'm just like, though I'm so excited for Top Gun, I can't stand Tom Cruise. And it's just going to be like one of those kind of double-edged swords where I'm going to go see it and almost force myself to love it for the movie and just kind of ignore who he is.
You see, I can still palate Tom Cruise. I think that's where I'm different. Is that he's a fucking dumbass, but I can palate him. And I can definitely palate him enough for a Top Gun sequel. Top Gun Maverick is the official title.
All right, let's get on to it. I don't know what you guys are going to think about this one, but Cats, meow. The Broadway musical is coming to a cinema near you. I have one thing to say. I'm not interested in this. The cat costumes creep me out. And I feel a little uncomfortable seeing James Corden in a cat outfit.
So that's totally been kind of the social media reaction. Everyone's been like, oh my God, this is terrifying. But I don't know if y'all remember when Cats came out when I was a child. It fucking creeped me out then too. What's a cat movie without fucking creepy ass fucking outfits? It's Cats. It's Cats. I can get past it because like the original Cats fucking scared me as a kid, and I think it's a lot of just people are kind of hyping on.
There's an original movie.
You've never seen the original?
I know this is a
gotta
Broadway
rewatch.
show. I never knew this was a movie.
Unless I'm thinking of something else entirely.
You're 100% thinking of something else. Yeah, this is a Broadway show. This is the first time it's coming to the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
Is it really?
Are you thinking of like Phantom of the Opera?
Yeah, I think
No.
you're thinking of something different. Cats has never been a movie.
What am I thinking of? What am I thinking of?
While you figure that out,
Yeah, you get
I'll
it back.
give my take.
This might
I
just
am
be a
actually
deja vu.
really excited. I'm a huge musical theater guy. I love Broadway. I love the music in this movie. It's so good. I've never seen Cats before, and I know the entire album. Like, that's just kind of how most Broadway shows go for me because I've unfortunately been unable to see them. And I love the music in this. I think the cast is so great. And it's Tim Burton, too, which to me, he's going to make it cool. And he's going to put these effects in there and this animation in there that's going to really make it like dark, which is the kind of the way the Broadway show is. And I'm really excited. I hope it's not a flop, but I think it's going to be probably one of my favorite movies of the year.
There is an original movie. I used to own it on VHS. It was direct-to-video musical film.
Direct-to-video. That says a lot.
1998, and we had it, and it terrified me as a child. Fucking terrified me. My mom had I'm looking at the cover right now. My mom had thought I went to go see it with her like on Broadway or something like that, but I was like, no, I just watched the clip. It's 2 hours long, October 5th, 1998. I can't believe you guys haven't heard about this.
Yeah,
I didn't realize it was direct-to-video.
Well, yeah, that's why I've never heard of it, because I love Cats as the music. Like
I had the VHS.
That's so interesting. Can you post a picture of it in the Discord?
Yeah, I'll do that right now so you can see it. The fucking poster for it is creepy as hell too. I knew I wasn't tripping.
The thing that I'm just most excited about, like I said, is just the Tim Burton animation and the music, because the music is so chilling and oh, does this have David Bowie?
Let me check. Elaine Page, John Mills, and Ken Page.
Wait, is this a live action? Like, is this a movie of them on stage?
Direct-to-video musical film based on the stage.
It's a musical film. I think that means it's like a recording of the show.
No, it's the original choreographer. It's a film. It's a recreation of the stage musical, but with a new staging and significant cuts made to reduce the runtime for television broadcast. It was filmed at the Adelphi Theater. So it was
so it's a stage.
Yeah.
So it's on stage, yeah. So it's not like a movie like this is gonna be, where it's like they're not gonna be dancing on stage. They're gonna be like in a real setting.
Yes, they basically cut it to make it fit for a TV show or a TV showing. I knew I wasn't tripping.
Let's get into these final three. I'm actually really excited for this one. It's gonna be the Mr. Rogers movie. And Tom Hanks is basically this generation's Mr. Rogers, the guy you never want to see in a scandal.
I don't think there's anyone else they could have cast.
He's
there really
the perfect
isn't.
person. He's the nicest person in Hollywood, and Mr. Rogers was the nicest person in Hollywood a long time ago. So it's a perfect casting for a movie that's going to be amazing.
It's called A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It makes my heart so warm.
I know. I'm so excited for it. Just to kind of, you can tell it's going to be a feel-good movie.
Mr. Rogers is just such a good guy, and I'm pretty sure it's the close to his death. And I think I've actually read that article before. He's such an amazing person.
Yeah.
Like, they were trying to get dirt on him, and no.
He's amazing.
He's amazing.
Well, so I actually never watched Mr. Rogers as a kid. And like after seeing this trailer and the movie, the Mr. Rogers movie that came out last year, I read all about him after. I was like, wow, this guy is one of the nicest people ever in the world. And he truly just wanted to help children succeed.
His love when
it was so great. I loved his show.
I love when it's like the anniversary of his death every year, because people always just share such heartwarming stories about their experiences with Mr. Rogers. I remember a couple of years ago, someone on Twitter shared a long thread about his experience with Mr. Rogers. And it was just one of the most heartwarming things I had ever read. It was like a college-age student and his encounter with Mr. Rogers and him just giving him good advice.
The way you're wording that is like, his experience with Mr. Rogers, his encounter with Mr. I'm getting like Michael Jackson vibes.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
No,
His
Don't ruin
experience
him.
with Mr. Rogers. He's recounting his time with him. Like,
how dare you slander that name? No, man, I love Mr. Rogers. He's such a heartwarming individual. He makes my heart warm.
Well, I'm excited and I can't wait for it to come out. But I think what I'm most excited for is this next one, and it's Zombieland 2 Double Tap.
woo!
The trailer just came out
Woo.
this afternoon. It's set to be released October 18th this year. It has
That's
been,
really
I think,
cool.
10 years since the first one came out. So
That long?
I am beyond excited. It's been a long time. I think it's
Yeah,
been
bro.
9 or 10 years.
Yeah.
And they, like, 2 of those actors have gone on to get Oscar nominations, and Emma Stone won one. So it's going to be a good movie with great acting.
Yeah, I mean, I loved the original. It's still to this day. I'm staring at the DVD right now on my DVD case. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I love it so much. And I when it first came out, it was one of those movies that like I watched an obscene amount of times. Like when it came on DVD, I was like overwatching it to a sense because I was just so in love with it.
I think now is a good time for me to disclose my sins.
Lay it out there.
Let the world know.
I've never seen Zombieland.
Shame.
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 I've
Shame.
never seen it. I just
Shame.
never had interest as a kid. Never really wanted to see it. I was like always like anti Zombieland.
Bill Murray in
I've
that
heard-
movie is by far one of the best parts of the
Yes.
movie.
And I've seen clips, and he plays himself, right?
Yeah.
Like I've heard so many things, and I think it's kind of like how John Wick was for me before I first saw it. Like I thought John Wick was a terrible movie, and then like some people I really respected their opinions for movies. Like, no, go watch that movie. You're gonna love it. And I was like, okay, I watched it. I think Zombieland's kind of the same way, where it's just one of those great movies that I hated before I even saw it, and I never wanted to see it. And I still haven't seen it, and this day in 2019.
Well, you got to see it. So, and yeah,
I'll see it
actually,
before the new one.
Dan, it released October 2nd, 2009. So it'll be almost 10 years
That
to the
is
day when the new one comes
insane.
out.
That is
Oh.
insane.
That feels about right.
Because Emma Stone really has not aged, and neither has Jesse Eisenberg.
Yep.
They look the
I'd
exact
say
same.
Abigail Breslin is the most like grown, but like Jesse Eisenberg looks like
Because
the
she
same
grew up.
Yeah, she actually aged by growing up.
Let's get on
Alright,
to this last movie
Let's
trailer.
get it into it. It Chapter 2, the trailer number 3 dropped. I am so excited for September to see this one as well. What are you guys thinking?
It
I
comes out
completely
the
agree.
day before my birthday. The Loser Squad's going to be great. It's going to be an amazing conclusion to the It saga.
The cast.
And I think it's going to be fucking scary.
We got Jessica Chastain. We got Bill Hader, which to me is so out there, but I'm so excited for him to give us like a serious kind of role. You know,
Serious,
even
but
though-
still going to be comedic. Because
yeah,
the
because
kid-
his character in the original was like the comedic relief.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's Mike, right?
Yeah, it's Mike.
Yeah. And then who else do we got? Oh, we got James McAvoy. So
Amazing.
excited for him.
He's a creepy ass motherfucker. I can't look at James McAvoy the same since Split and Glass.
Right?
Yeah,
That
I
movie
agree.
kind of ruined it for me. Yeah.
He's really creepy.
He's like 1 minute he's Split, next minute he's Professor X. It's like I don't know how to take this.
Who else is in the casting though? Because they got a lot of big names.
I can't really name the others off the top of my head, but I can picture their faces.
Yeah.
I'm looking at one of them. His name is Jay Ryan. It looks like he was in the most recent Beauty and the Beast in a Canadian television series called Mary Kills People.
Ooh.
And then you have Isaiah Mustafa, who is the guy from the Old Spice television commercials.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Who is the
So-
one who looks like a fucking grown up version of the kid he's playing? James
Is-
Ransone. He's playing Eddie.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
I
yes.
recognize his face.
He looks exactly like the child version that he's playing.
Oh, he's the deputy from Sinister.
Oh, yes, he
That's
is.
true, right? That's where I know him.
I instantly recognized his face the second you pointed that out. Oh
That's
my
crazy.
god, he looks so much like Eddie. That I think that's probably the best casting, right there. Just in terms of how much they look.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see the red carpet photos of him and the kid together.
Oh my god, yeah. You just kneel down. They have the identical face. That is crazy.
I'll be sending you guys a picture right now of actually them. Check that out. I think it's super funny just how like much they look like each other.
Ooh. Well, so how many weeks do we have? We got about like 6 weeks till It Chapter 2 comes out.
That's gonna come up
right around my birthday.
So excited. It's gonna be right around the corner. I still don't know what happens. Like I've never read the books. I don't know how the ending of it is. So I need it to come out before I spoil it.
Have you never seen the original?
I saw probably the first like 45 minutes of the television movie, but I haven't seen the whole thing.
I have the audiobook as well. I haven't finished the audiobook. Man,
I remember you tried to get us to like listen to that.
It was so fucking boring.
Yeah, on a camping trip, no thanks.
No, like years ago in Rio, he tried to get us to sit in the living room.
We
and
were
listen to
playing over the big speakers in the living room, and like we would sleep all high as fuck.
Eating the coop. Good days. Good days.
Yeah.
So
but that's about it, guys, for the news and views for this week. We got a whole lot of shit we talked about. In future weeks, it won't be nearly as much, but Comic-Con and all these movie trailers were fucking big.
Big news.
Usually, at this point, we would transition here into the throwback movie of the week. This week, we decided to postpone it to kind of give more time to news and views. But next week, we are going to be discussing Inglourious Bastards because Once Upon a Time in Hollywood comes out tomorrow.
Which is, I think, the 9th Quentin Tarantino film?
I believe it is.
Yes,
I believe, yes.
Correct.
Hateful Eight was 8. It's going to be July 26th. It's technically out tonight in theaters. I'm going to be going to see it tomorrow. I'm fucking excited. I'll get way more into it next week, but between the motifs of Inglourious Bastards, I want to see Tarantino reimagine essentially his thesis conclusion from Inglourious Bastards that film was enough to kill the Nazis. Because he's going to re-examine that. And it's going to be really, 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 really fucking good. You want to get into this new movie review, guys?
Ooh, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So for those that have been living under a rock and don't know, Lion King premiered last week in the theaters. We all three have seen it, luckily. Let's start off with Chase. Let's hear what you thought of the movie.
Oh, buddy. So you want like the quick minute update on here?
Yeah.
Okay. So take my review with a grain of salt. I am a huge fan of Disney movies, but I'm not really a big fan of remakes. I just don't understand the point of Disney trying to make $1 on anything.
I totally think it's fair.
It's just unfortunate because they own freaking Star Wars and Marvel now. They don't need to worry about making live actions to survive. And like Disney Plus is coming out in November. Like this company, Frankie already said, is a monopoly. They don't need to do this, but yet they're still doing it. So I don't know. I mean, the live actions I've seen so far, I've seen Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, and now Lion King, and they were each good. I haven't seen Dumbo or Aladdin, which I'm sure are good, but no interest in seeing it as a child. So that is my take on there. But all right, I'll get into it really quick on the acting in this movie. First things first, I'd love to say, out of anything, I think J.D. McCrary, the kid that played young Simba, was fantastic.
Totally fucking agree.
Agree.
I think out of anyone, like his voice, you can just tell that the kid gave it his all, and you could just like really feel it in the tone of his voice. And
kid killed it.
He honestly killed it. He's 12 years old. Like he's gonna have a future career in Hollywood, especially after this movie. Disney's gonna make him a star, I bet.
Oh, he deserves it.
Yeah, and he totally does. And the unfortunate thing is how well he did. Like Donald Glover and Beyonce, huge A-list names, and I didn't really care for in the movie. I thought their voices were like okay. I didn't feel like they really gave it their all. And the cover of the songs, though, they were really good. I will agree.
You know, Dan and I were saying the same thing before the podcast, where we think the kids, and especially what was the child who played Simba's name? What was his name?
I don't know in real life. Oh yeah.
He stole the show, and it's like you just said, compared to Glover and Beyonce, I think he was the best.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I kind of agree with you. Like I feel like personally, the two most hyped people in this movie were my two least favorite things about it, if that makes sense.
Easy.
I feel like Donald Glover to me was very overhyped, and I just feel like I don't think he brought anything crazy to this. He didn't like bring anything to it. It was just his voice. And though he has a great voice, I just didn't think that it was like that big of a deal. And then same with Beyonce. I actually was annoyed of Beyonce's presence in the movie. I felt like it was so obvious that Disney just wanted to have as much Beyonce involvement as possible. So for those of you that have seen the Lion King cartoon, you know that Nala, though she's an important character, doesn't really speak as much. And in this movie, Nala has this whole backstory and this whole dialogue that didn't need to be there. And you can tell it was just to cater to the fact that Beyonce was in the film and they wanted to just give her more screen time, which to me is stupid.
The Beehive is going to attack you for saying
They're going to attack me, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. But like, for those that haven't seen it, spoiler alert, there is a moment where Simba comes to the epiphany that he needs to return to Pride Rock and save his family and save his land and take the throne of king. And that entire time when he's running back, they're playing this Beyonce song that has never been in The Lion King before. She made it for the movie that just came out. And I feel like that to me was the most annoying thing about it. I was like, why is this song in the movie? Why are they playing this right now? I don't need to hear her voice. I don't need to see that. I just need to see Simba becoming a man. Leave all the Beyonce semantics out of it, you know?
I didn't really mind the addition of the new song. I enjoyed it. And I think it was done well enough that it fit in. It didn't feel like a song. Like, she made it fit the Lion King, you know? It's not like a Beyonce song in a Lion King movie. It's a Lion King song featuring Beyonce. That's how I kind of interpreted that, and I enjoyed it. I think they didn't really kill it in terms of acting, voice acting at least. But I will say, Donald Glover, Childish Gambino, and Beyonce's rendition of Can You Feel the Love Tonight was so fucking great.
It was.
I loved that. Like,
I
Donald
agree.
Glover didn't wow me, but that song was holy fuck, man.
The one thing about the song that bothered me is if you go and listen to it, she's like out singing him. And there's like certain points where the note ends and then she carries it on for like another 3 seconds. And I'm like, why do you have to pull this shit, Beyonce? Why do you have to pull this shit? Like, everyone knows who you are. Everyone loves you. Everyone respects you. You don't need to shove yourself down our throats. You know what I mean? Like, we get it. You don't need to like out sing everybody in every song you're in.
Get it.
Like,
You're Beyonce.
You're Beyonce. We get it. We love you. Now relax. You know, like,
I loved it still.
I thought Timon and Pumbaa were the best voice actors.
Yeah, I was about to talk about that.
Easy, yep.
Seth Rogen actually sang.
Yeah.
I was surprised about that.
And Billy Eichner was actually a good singer too.
Yeah, and then his little Be Our Guest was so great.
Oh, that was such good, like, just Disney, you know.
That was so
Easter
meta.
egging. Yeah.
It was so meta, and I was like, my mom dying during that. I fucking loved that little. I really enjoyed this movie. I really, really enjoyed the new Lion King.
The animation was astounding. Like, there were so many moments where I felt like I was watching a National Geographic because it was so realistic looking and it was so beautiful.
Did they film on location, or was that just all computer generated?
I think that was all computer generated.
Oh my god, that's so impressive.
It really is, even down to the bugs. You know, like the bugs looked so real.
Because I would have sworn they had to film on location. Because my god, the landscapes, some of the best cinematography I've ever seen. Like the Lion King, the original is beautiful, and they do it justice. You know, I think my favorite part of the movie was honestly the first 5 minutes. The shot for shot recreation of Circle of Life was so fucking good. Like usually with the remakes, I want something to kind of like give me a reason to remake it. But Disney knew what they were getting into. You can't really change up the formula on The Lion King. And they didn't. They really kept it the same. And I think they just added good actors. I totally agree that Seth Rogen and Billy Eichner stole the show. But Timon and Pumbaa really do need to steal the show on Lion King.
That's kind of their point, exactly.
They're the middle of the movie. They're
like the C-3PO R2-D2 of the series.
They're the ones who save Hamlet on his journey. They're the ones who save Simba on his journey. It's really good. And I loved, oh my god, the final fight scene was great. You know, the fire. And just.
I thought Chittadell, or however you say his name, I thought he was a really good voice of Scar. I liked his take, and I thought that he added this like more serious, kind of realistic voice to it.
Yeah. Except I didn't like his version of
Be Prepared. Same.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan of that.
I will say that.
My last critique, I wasn't a fan of Rafiki.
Really?
I just feel like Rafiki's voice is so much more animated, and I was just a little underwhelmed with how little like animation came out of that character's voice.
I could agree with you on that.
Because if you go back and watch the cartoon, Rafiki is this larger than life kind of voice, and in the movie, he kind of really just kind of was in the background.
I really liked Zazu. John Oliver is Zazu.
Great. Yeah,
he did great. Yeah.
And then Keegan-Michael Key and what's his face?
Andre.
Eric Andre. Oh my god. So fucking perfect.
Was that Eric Andre?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
Oh my god, they did such a good job at doing it.
So Chase, give us your rating for this movie overall.
All right, overall, I gave the movie an 8.2, and I'll say right off the bat, it was a great movie, and I totally recommend seeing it in theaters. But I have it as a low 8, and I'll give you 2 reasons why. And one, it's a remake, and the classic is way better.
Okay. Dan, what's your rating?
So my rating's going to be an 8.8 because I have this crazy amount of nostalgia in me, and so just being able to hear those songs and see this film done in like a really beautiful live action kind of way, I thought was so breathtaking. I also was kind of stoned before I went, so it was just overwhelmingly good. But I gave it an 8.8 just because there were little parts that I was bothered by. I would say a good portion of that was Beyonce's just over, usage. And then I would also say just like the small issues with the voice acting.
I still think it's a very generous score.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like I still loved it. There were just small things that I could have done without. I wasn't mad they were there, just could have done without them.
So my score was the aggregate score for the group and what our final group is actually going to be, and it's an 8.5. I loved it. It's really, really great, and the original's better. that's kind of where the
that's a good consensus to have too.
I think the original's still better, and I think an 8.5 group score is still a really good score, but not the best Disney movie I've seen all year, which is surprising to say.
Right. So all in all, we've given it a B rating, so I think everyone should go see it, give it a shot for yourself, figure out how much you like it. We give it an 8.2, 8.5, 8.8. Those are solid B scores, so we're going to go ahead and move on to our next category, TV recaps and reviews.
I know you two are excited.
Chase, do you want to start us out?
Excited. Yeah, I do. I want to start it out. Big Little Lies. Season 2, man, it was good. It lived up to the hype. Not as good as season 1 because of the cliffhanger, but it's still very good. And I'm excited to see what happens. But most of all, I was very surprised like how excellent the writing was in the show, and the story was still great considering the first season was based off a book. And I mean, we saw how Game of Thrones fell off with the writing and story without JRM. So this was great, man. So
do you know that they intended season 1 to just be a one-time limited series, never explored again?
Yeah, but there's so much
season 1 was so
support.
successful that they were like, we need to keep this going.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. And I don't know, the ending, it was so good, right? But it left me wanting more. And it like the ending of season 1, it was, it was fantastic after a lot of build up throughout the season, and you got what you wanted. But I felt like this season, I liked the ending, but it felt underwhelming, right? And now with the show ending with them walking into a police station, like it begs the question: is there going to be a season 3, or is this the cliffhanger for the show that will never happen?
See, I think there will be. Because I think there's a lot of unsolved issues with some of these characters. The lie for Perry is the obvious, like, big lie. But in their own respected storylines, they have a lot of untied loose ends. You have Renata, who's that last scene with her and her husband where he's sitting there playing with all his toys and she just goes off on him. I was like, I fucking love Laura Dern, dude. She's so great. And I just feel like we have to see more from her because she kind of teased that she was going to go make it on her own. She doesn't need a husband. She's going to go do this shit on her own. And I want to see that happen. You know what I mean? And then we also got Madeline, who just renewed her vows with Adam Scott's character. And I like that too, because I feel like it shows that there's going to be a future for them.
Mm-hmm.
And though I feel like season 2 ended in a way where if it didn't come back, I would be satisfied. I feel like HBO just gets that it's not smart business to end it there, you know?
Yeah. But it's what I agree with you on that, but it's the fact it has to be so difficult to get 5 A-list actresses all on board just to shoot 7 episodes.
Well, now Meryl Streep, they got 6 A-list actors,
yeah,
you know?
Exactly. And they'll probably bring someone else on too if they do another season. They'll have like a huge cast. They'll have another star actor.
Right. I feel like the thing that I see with Big Little Lies is I see it being the next. I told this to somebody earlier. I see it being the more well-written, more mature version of Pretty Little Liars. Whereas that show started out with a 1-season kind of thing, and then that went on to be like a 6 to 7 season long series with all of these female younger actresses. I think this is going to be the more mature, adulter version of that. And I just see nothing but good capitalism to just keep bringing A-list actresses into this fold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like it would be so smart of them to just keep bringing more and more A-list actresses and even actors, you know, like just to keep this going, because it's a really adult show. And I feel like we don't get that many good adult dramas, that there's no like, it's not like Game of Thrones where there's this like excessive amount of fantasy. It's just a basic drama, you know? There's like a basic drama to this. There's not like this insane amount of like killing or sex or nudity. It's just like a truthful telling drama. And I feel like we don't have a lot of that for adults, at least.
I agree. What did you what did you think of the character arcs out of, like, you mentioned Renata and Madeline, but like how did you feel about Bonnie? Like, I feel like everyone had like a good ending to like their character arc for the season, but like Bonnie, I just don't feel like she got it.
She really didn't. And I feel like in season 1, we kind of saw Bonnie as this like yoga doing, meditation healing kind of person that seemed to have all of the chakras aligned and seemed to have, you know, everything figured out. And in this season, we really learned that that was all a mask. And she was completely a broken person and was the most broken out of all of them, even though she had this front that Reese Witherspoon felt like insecure of, because she was like this perfect Bonnie that was just so calm and cool and collected. And this season we learned like, no, she went through child abuse and child trauma and fell in love with someone that she's not even really in love with. And like, I feel like her story was the biggest character arc for sure. I was really impressed with Zoe Kravitz in this season, just because I feel like she really gave us more. And I appreciated it. Yeah. That scene with her and her mother, where she's like, basically like, I loathe you for all of these things, was so intense. And it was so relatable in a way, because sometimes we can feel that way about our parents, where it's like, your actions affected me, you know? And like things that you did, you didn't realize, but they were shaping me in a positive or negative way. And I feel like that's a truth that's hard to say out loud. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because we don't want to look at our parents as like imperfect human beings.
So that's a great way to put it.
Right? You know what I mean? And I feel like in this show, we really saw that parents have a direct line to how we grow up as individuals.
One thing as an outside observer, I've only heard about Big Little Lies through like you guys on social media, obviously. And you guys may or may not have talked about this. Like, listening to you guys is like very hard to kind of keep conversation because I don't watch the show. What was the whole deal with the Meryl Streep corpse scene that I have heard so much about on social media?
So
everyone
basically,
was talking about it.
Meryl Streep's character is the mother of Nicole Kidman's husband, who gets killed at the end of season 1.
Yep, got that.
So in season 2, Meryl Streep's character comes into the fold. And throughout the season, she starts to make the argument that she feels like Nicole Kidman is ill-equipped to be a single mother. Because Nicole Kidman kind of goes through these different things where like one night she takes Ambien and then wakes up, doesn't know where she is. All of these different things kind of happen. And so Meryl Streep creates the argument that she's ill-equipped to raise these kids. And so basically Meryl Streep takes Nicole Kidman to court to get custody of those children. And in the episode before the season finale, Meryl Streep's attorney like grills Nicole Kidman on the stand and like points out every reason why she's ill-equipped. But then at the very end of the episode, Nicole Kidman makes the decision, I want to cross-examine her too. If she can cross-examine me, I should be able to cross-examine her, because if she thinks she's equipped to take care of my children, I want to make sure of that. And the judge basically agrees, like, yeah, she deserves to be cross-examined as well. So the finale is Nicole Kidman essentially going in on Meryl Streep, and you find out that Nicole Kidman's husband had a brother, and you didn't know how he died. And you find out in the season finale he died because Meryl Streep lost her cool while driving, was yelling at the boys, and then they crashed and he died. So she brings that up and is like, did you ever kill your son while getting into a road rage? And then it's like, it's this really intense kind of thing. And it basically ends with Nicole Kidman winning, and she gets to keep her kids. And Meryl
I hope
Streep,
she'd win off that argument.
right. Well, yeah. And basically the judge overrules that, like, these children have gone through enough. She's not about to take them from their mother, you know? And then they also bring up the argument. So basically you also find out that Nicole Kidman's, I'm just giving you tons of spoilers right now, Frankie, but you find out that Nicole Kidman's ex also was responsible for the raping of Shailene Woodley's character.
Oh, that's fucked up.
And the whole first season, you're trying to figure out who did that to Shailene Woodley. And then it's in the finale that you find out it was him.
In the finale of season 2?
No, in season 1.
Oh, okay.
And that's why they kill him, essentially, because there's like this whole scene where he's beating up Nicole Kidman and all the women kind of get in this rage, and Zoe's character pushes him off of his steps, and he like dies on the steps. And that's their lie, is that they basically say that he fell. And in reality, they all kind of pushed him, because when Shailene Woodley realizes that that's the one who raped her, it's this whole twist of a moment. You know, you don't see it coming in the show. And Shailene Woodley has a son who is a direct result of that raping. So then Nicole Kidman also brings that up. Like, your son beat me. Your son raped that girl over there. That is a direct result of your parenting. And just all of those arguments is what basically made Nicole Kidman win that trial. But the scene itself was so good and so intense. That's why everyone's talking about it on social media, because it was just such good writing and such good acting from Meryl and Nicole Kidman, and just all of them were just giving it their all in that scene.
Well, goddamn. That sounds like a good court scene. There's a lot of court scenes.
It was a great season. And then the season ends basically with all of the women unitedly deciding to walk into the police station to confess. And the episode ends with them walking into the police station.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why we're wondering, is there going to be a third?
There has to be.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
But,
like, you can't just leave it like that.
I don't think
I
they're
can
going to
totally see them leaving it like that. It just like always make you wonder.
That would be an awesome, like, a fucking epic ending to a TV show.
Yeah, you know what I'd be interested in is if they made it into like an HBO movie, kind of like Deadwood.
Ooh.
You know, that's how they wanted to end Game of Thrones?
Oh, fuck that.
I mean, at this point, nothing could have been worse. So
we're still talking about it 2 months later.
We still haven't healed.
We'll never will.
So give us a season 2 rating, Chase. Big Little Lies.
I would say, on the top of my head, I'd say season 1 was like a 9 out of 10. So I'd say this was like an 8/8. It was very good. It was a B+.
Okay. I would probably go as to say that both season 1 and season 2, I would just give them 9s.
9s.
Because I feel like they were so different in their like storylines, and I get so intrigued by, and Meryl just really season. So I feel like she kind of, if I was an 8.8, Meryl boosted it up that 2 points, because I loved Meryl, and seeing her on a series, you know, we always see Meryl in movies. So just seeing her on a TV show was just so great.
Totally. Seeing is, if what didn't happen at the end of season 1, I always thought season 1 was very slow until like the last like 5 minutes
The
of
finale, basically. Yeah,
the finale. And then I was like, wow, that was a fucking good season. But like the entire time I was like, it's okay.
Right.
So,
and that's usually like, I feel like that's how you know a show is really good, is like, that's kind of how Westworld was for me. You know, it takes about 7 or 8 episodes for Westworld to kind of hit that point in season 1.
It takes,
but
like,
when it does, you're like, holy fuck, this is an amazing show, you know, because it's like you realize all the buildup that has been there. And the first time you're watching it, it just seems slow. Whereas after you find out the twist, you're like, if you go back and watch it,
there's so many big twists.
That was build up. That was all build up.
So many big twists in that first season.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's a fucking classic season of television. Y'all want to get into these top threes? Because
let's do it. Let's finish it up.
Chase, take it away.
Take it away. So, in honor of Lion King coming out this past weekend, we decided we were going to do our favorite Disney classics of all time. I'll go
non-Pixar films.
Non-Pixar, because if it was, I think all three of mine would be Toy Story, Toy Story, Toy Story.
Right, literally, yeah. No, I think it's good to say that classic in our mind is a cartoon and something before the year 2000.
Yes.
That's not Pixar related.
Correct.
Because Toy Story was 1990.
Right, it has to be a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at my top three, I feel like all of them are classics just because like it's the nostalgia factor of like thinking of my childhood of these movies. So I don't know if that's how you guys are going to feel about your list, but that's what I think.
That's exactly how I feel about mine too.
Okay. So right off the bat, bronze is going to be Peter Pan. I don't know what it is about the movie, but it kept my attention as a child so much. My daycare used to play this movie every week, other week growing up, and they did that with a ton of movies. But it was like the one movie that I never lost interest in,
It's
and
a classic.
I was always excited to see it. So I don't know. I haven't seen this movie probably since I was in daycare, but I think it's about time for a rewatch.
It's a fucking classic, man. Kid who never grows up.
Yes, sir. And I want to say, just Peter Pan. Like because we all do separate movies, so we don't all have the same opinions. But if I got to choose, like you guys had like my five favorites, so this is like an honorable mention for me. But I will give it a bronze. It was a great movie.
It's a childhood classic.
It is a child never grow up.
Which is probably the most relatable concept. Like none of us want to fucking grow up.
It's a really good.
I still don't.
They call it Peter Pan syndrome.
Oh my god!
Really?
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. Speaking of that, I bought a table today, and I feel like a grown up. So
like a dining room table
right now. Yeah, like a dining table.
You guys have to throw a dinner, and I'll come down.
Yeah, we'll hold a big feast for us.
Hashtag adulting.
Anyways, going into it more, Silver. I'm gonna give it to an extremely goofy movie. This is a goofy movie too, and we just said not a movie after 2000. And this movie came out in 2000, so I'm sorry for that, but it came February 29, 2000. It was basically the start of the new millennium.
One of the early years of my childhood. One of the favorite movies of my childhood.
Yes, and I totally agree with you on that. I love the first Goofy movie, but Extremely Goofy movie was easily my favorite because I just love the fact Max going to college and Goofy following him, like, and just never letting him go.
Like, I don't even remember the first
that sticks out to me is when they're in the like poetry room and they're all snapping to the poetry. That part just sticks out to me so much. It's so funny, and like all of the dogs, they're like dogs. I never realized that as a kid, and then getting older, I'm like, those are all dogs.
Yeah,
I just never thought about that as a kid.
Oh yeah,
it's such a good movie.
It was such a good movie, and I felt like the movie was just a great adventure. So just loved that part of the childhood aspect of it, and I guess that'd be about it. I mean, it's a must watch. It used to be a must watch weekend movie. I can just remember as a kid, my dad would be grilling burgers, and I'd be watching this on the TV.
It's one of my favorite movies.
Nostalgia. It is.
It's a good father-son movie too.
Mm-hmm. Totally is. Yeah, I don't think my dad ever watched it with me though.
It's okay.
He was too busy with something else. Anyways, gold is going to be going to one of my favorites. It is Mulan. I remember this. I honestly want to say this is probably one of my earliest memories, like of my life. Mulan came out when I was 4 years old, and so I could honestly remember going to McDonald's and getting the sauce as a child. I could remember collecting the Happy Meal toys like I did with Tarzan as well. And I just remember the day my mom bought me this on VHS, and I watched it countless times. So this movie plays a huge nostalgia factor in why I like it so much. I know people either like it or don't, but this was a great movie. And I'm actually really excited for the live action, even if it's not going to have Mushu. And
I would watch this one all the time with Q. Like, we would smoke hookah for like 12 hours overnight, and like every single time Mulan was always in the queue.
It's a good movie, man. The story, the music, and the ending battle against Shan Yu put the movie. It's easy the top Disney classic for me.
I don't think the remake will be, unfortunately.
It probably won't.
Yeah. Right. But when has it been?
Very true.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's my review. Let's go to Dan.
All right, so we'll start with my This is gonna be my bronze. So I'll give a little disclaimer. My top threes, for the most part, has a good 80% to do with the music. Because as a kid, these 3 albums for these 3 movies were on repeat. They had such good music in them, and for me, that's what make the movies so good, is the music in them. So I'll start with my bronze, and that's going to be Hercules. I love Hercules so much. I also just love Greek mythology, but the music in Hercules is so good. The gospel aspect to it, and just like all of the muses that come in and sing and narrate these different parts. And I just think the music is so well done, and it matches the time period really well. You know, Disney does a good job making music match the theme and like the time period. And I just think that Hercules is one of those movies that, like, I know all the words to all the songs, and like when those songs come on, I get hype. I get real hype. It doesn't even honestly come down to the story. It's just about like the music for me, and just like how good those songs are. They're like classic Disney songs in my opinion. And that's going to kind of piggyback onto my silver too. You know, Tarzan, I think, has one of the better messages of a Disney movie, because it's about just kind of really remembering where you came from and being a man when it's time to be a man, and all of those different types of things. But Phil Collins giving us that album, he did not have to do that. He did not have to do that. And he gave us one of the greatest albums of all time. That album, that whole movie is Phil Collins based, and it's all of the
Phil
songs
Collins
are
is playing in my
so
head right now.
good. Like, You'll Be in My Heart is one of the most touching, wholesome Disney songs I've ever heard in my life. And I just love the scene with all of the gorillas playing the instruments. It's, to me, as my childhood, one of the most iconic scenes. Just like that, that whole thing is so iconic to me. And I love it so much. And then I also loved the like NSYNC Phil Collins version that they came out with for the album for the movie. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that, but it's like a Phil Collins NSYNC acapella version of that song.
No,
so good. And I just love the album so much. And the message of the movie is so beautiful, you know, with this gorilla who takes this human as her own son, and the love and all of it is just, it's so wholesome. You know what I mean? It's like, wholesome is the only word I can think of, really. And
Phil Collins is a very good person to do that.
He is.
Great soundtrack.
Great soundtrack. And then that's going to lead into my gold. And it's going to be to what I would call one of the greatest Disney soundtracks of all time. And that's The Lion King. Obviously, I'm a little cliche because we just talked about that. And it just came out.
Disney movies of all time.
One of the best Disney movies of all time, but more specifically for me, one of the best Disney albums, because those songs, Hakuna Matata, Can You Feel the Love, I Just Can't Wait to Be King, and Circle of Life, are like the 4 most iconic Disney songs in my opinion. For me growing up, those were the songs that I was singing on repeat, and like when I would hear them, I would think of Disney, and I would think of Disneyland, and it was just like the music in The Lion King to me, you know, it's Elton John. He wrote and composed all of those songs, and I just think it's another testament to like how well Disney can do when they get an artist specialize on the album. You know, you got Tarzan with Phil Collins, and then you got Elton John with The Lion King, and they bring their whole vibe and flavor to that music, and it's just amazing to me. And then also The Lion King, I just, you know, I love the message so much, and I love the animation in it and the story in it. It's all, you know, I would say Hercules, Tarzan, and The Lion King are all about becoming a man and being a man. And like as a boy, as a young boy, watching those movies, they were inspiring, you know, because you wanted to do right for your father. You wanted to do right for your mother. You wanted to be a man and make your family proud. And I feel like that's what all 3 of those movies really embody. They just embody like becoming a man and really taking your destiny. And to me, those are just going to be the top 3s.
I really like
That's a good list. Solid list.
Frankie, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go with my list. So I'm going to give a quick honorable mention. I'm surprised none of you guys took this. Going on the same kind of realm of just amazing Disney soundtracks, this is one that was blared in my house for months and months. Like, this is like my early childhood. There's videos of like me as like a toddler, like handheld like home videos of like me in my crib like dancing around, and my sister doing an entire lip sync orchestra doing a whole fucking production to the Little Mermaid soundtrack. And I don't think I could have my list without having, because that soundtrack, like, I gotta show you guys the home videos because they're
please.
so lit. So I'm like 2 years old and I'm like a fat little toddler baby. It just like I'm probably not 2 years old because I'm still in a crib. I'm probably like 1 year old. I'm like a really young baby, and my sister's just dancing and singing and doing an entire production, a whole new world. Like, so not a whole new world. So many fucking videos. It's such a great movie. That's the honorable mention. Going into my number 3 though is one of the trippiest Disney movies of all time. And it's one I didn't like as a kid because it scared me. But as an adult, I really, really came to appreciate it. And that is Fantasia 2000. And when I think of this movie, you know what I honestly think of? I think of the light show at Disneyland. That's really what gave me the renewed resurgence, like just my wanting to go see it again. I think I watched it again for the first time since my childhood back in the Rio house. Didn't we watch it together?
Yeah, we watched it together.
Yeah, and since then I was high as shit, and holy fucking hell, man. This movie has such great visuals, and it is one of the favorites, especially because like I used to do a lot of drugs, and like this was one of my favorite movies when to watch on drugs. I think it's probably the best Disney film to watch on drugs, unless you guys have other recommendations.
The music and the visuals by far stimulating, for sure.
It's such a good film, and you know what's funny is I met the animator for the Firebird at the end of the film.
Oh.
I met the animator when I used to work at Best Buy. He was buying a printer from me, signed his signature, and I was like, that's a really nice signature. And then he got into the story about how he won not an Academy Award, but he won a prestigious award for his animation on that scene.
That is amazing.
Kidding.
Yeah, fucking one of the greatest experiences I ever had at Best Buy. But that's my bronze award, Fantasia 2000. My silver award is Aladdin. Another movie with a fucking amazing soundtrack. All the Disney movies have just great soundtracks.
Yeah, the soundtracks are such a part of it.
I knew all of the fucking words to This Is a Whole New World. Just the story of Aladdin and Jasmine. I loved Aladdin. And like when I was a kid, I was a real big, like I still am a sucker for fucking love stories. But as a kid, I was a massive sucker for love stories. Always just like this hopeless romantic, like I want my Jasmine. And just like singing these songs, like I just need my duet. I just need my duet. I fucking
just need your duet.
I do. And I loved Aladdin. So another kind of going back to Disneyland, the Aladdin play that they used to have at California Adventures is awesome production. And Aladdin's always been one of my top 5 favorite Disney movies in general of all time. I'm really glad I got my silver and my gold, because these would have been my list regardless. Like if you guys took them, these movies would be on my top 5 all time list. Fucking love these movies. Aladdin is great. And I'm unfortunate. It's sad for me to say I still haven't seen the live action version. I think I need to find a way to go see that as soon as possible, because I really want to see it. It is. But my gold award, my number 1, goes to quite possibly my number 1 Disney movie of all time, Pixar included, and that's Beauty and the Beast. And kind of following up on the same note, as a fat little chubby kid who just moved to a new town that knows no one and gets bullied like fucking crazy, I fucking loved this movie. Holy shit. Beauty and the Beast and the story of Beast and Belle is a tale as old as time. And this has probably some of the absolute greatest. This has multiple iconic, like whereas other movies have 1 or 2 like really iconic songs, except for like Lion King. I feel like every single song in Beauty and the Beast is really iconic. And seeing the live action remake with Emma Watson was one of the best things ever, because Beauty and the Beast is my favorite, like top 3 favorite Disney movies of all time.
We saw that together, yeah?
Yeah, we did. It's one of my absolute favorite Disney movies of all time. As a little kid, I'm like, I'm Beast. No one will ever love me until I get my tail. But I fucking love this movie, and it's gone into adulthood where I've fucking loved this movie, and it's so beautiful. And that's why I loved in the new Lion King live action when they gave that little meta shout out to Beauty and the Beast with Be Our Guest. There are so many good songs on that soundtrack. It's my top, and it very rightfully earns the gold award. But guys, we've been running for just over an hour and a half here. We went a little longer than we tried to, but definitely cut down on time. Next week, you can expect us to cut down on time even more. We're trying to get as close to a 1 hour runtime as possible. Y'all got any closing thoughts?
I'm just very excited for all of these upcoming movies and TV shows.
I'm stoked. I am excited for this weekend to see Quentin Tarantino's new movie.
Oh, number 9.
I'm seeing it 7:30 tomorrow. Let's do it.
I'm gonna try to see it tomorrow. My movie pass isn't. I'm still gonna find a way to get to the movies and see it.
Are you going to see that with Rachel, Chase?
Yeah, I don't think she's gonna like it.
You don't think so?
I think next week we do top 3 Quentin Tarantino movies, being that there's 9 of them out.
On brand.
It's going to be a whole Tarantino podcast. Inglourious Bastards, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and bam, top 3. Let's do it.
I love it. And yeah, Chase just said Inglourious Bastards is going to be the throwback movie for next week. And we'll update you guys on all of the news and views that comes out. I'm not expecting nearly as much crazy news this week, but who knows? I may just have a complete lack of foresight, and we may even have more news than. But guys, it's your boy Danklin signing out, having a good ass podcast with Dan and Chase.
Adios, guys. You guys have a good night.
Adios, y'all.
Thursday, and have a good weekend.
See y'all next week.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.